Hello and welcome back, everybody. Dan John here from danjohnuniversity.com. Today we're doing something a little fun. We're doing a simulcast every Tuesday morning. Pat and I get together and do our podcast. But today is going to be Kettlebell Swing podcast and questions. And here we go. I'll have to stay back the whole time. I will have to repeat the questions if that's okay with you, Patrick. Okay?
That's okay. And let me just reiterate one more time that today we are doing, we're on the official 300 swings protocol, 10 sets of 30 reps. This is a little bit of a lighter day, so, don't need to go crazy with this one. Those reps will add up. And forgive us as we get the camera angles figured out here. But, Dan, if you're ready, we can do set one.
Okay, so today we are going to follow some kind of system, which is unusual. So we're going to do 10 sets of 30. So when you're ready. Ooh. Well, I get this question every day, Pat. What do you do for warm up? And I'm like, I swing. You know?
That's right, swing warm up.
Yeah. So if you're doing 500 swings, the first little bit's the warm up, and the last little bit's the cool down, and the workout's that middle part. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing, not to complicate the routine, Jen's listeners keep sending me your comments and questions, and please join us as well. But if you're feeling good in this one, sometimes when I get the opposite with people that, mostly light sets, for today's routine. But if you wanted to, maybe towards the middle of the workout, do one or two, maybe three heavier sets, certainly acceptable.
So just as a reminder, Pat, so it's 10 for me. It's a 10,000 swing challenge. So that's 500 a day for 20 days. I use a 20-kilo bell because I'm 65. I recommend the 24 for men, the 16 or the 12 for women, only because those are just good, solid numbers. You can certainly go heavier. You can go lighter. You can do a much simpler tech thing, like you could do like a goat bag, a hinge or something else. But it's the idea of trying to, and with the 300, you're trying to string together a series of swing workouts that in the aggregate, in the accumulation, is going to trend you towards improvement.
Right, spot on. Dan, we have a question here right away with 500 swings. Karul says that after 300, grip is becoming a problem for him, and he wants to know, should he drop down to the 20 kilogram to finish his 500?
Should you lighten weight?
When grip's the limiter.
Yeah. Should you lighten weight if your grip is going? Well, that's why I don't like to give numbers anymore to how many swings you should do, because I'd rather you kept the load up and did less and slowly build that grip up. But
you would generally say cut the reps for the weight.
Yeah, generally, yeah. Another set of swings.
Let's do it.
So I saw a TV station do something I thought was a good idea. They were playing the first Indiana Jones and the third Indiana Jones back to back to back to back to back over and over and over. And I thought to myself, finally a television set that understands it, you know? So
Indeed.
there's nothing.
Gentle listeners, can you see us in the frame? Are the camera angles good? Give us a little feedback in the comments. Lots of good questions coming in too, please.
So when a question gets asked, make sure I can repeat it for my sound system and for that one. So today I've got 1, 2, 3 cameras going on. So
Hello, El Tigre. Yes, you're not the only one sipping coffee between sets. I'm still on my morning coffee.
Yeah.
Heidi says, or Hitty if I'm mispronouncing that. Pat and Dan, big fan of your work. I was just listening to Dan's interview on Strength Coach podcast.
Oh.
What's that new interview, Dan? Tell us about that.
Yeah, Anthony Rennan and I had a conversation the other day on Mike Boyle's strength coach. It was good. It's interesting because, people always want to make Mike Boyle and I act like we hate each other. He's a great guy. I mean, I love him. And it's weird because people think we disagree about things. No, as a strength coach, in American football, we have a phrase, you dance with the girl who brung you. And as a strength coach, you dance. So if you have a system in place and you have certain kinds of athletes, you're going to do, even if you agree with me 100%, you're still going to train differently than I am, depending on your locale, the kind of athlete you have, the kind of facilities you have. Mike is, so when Mike and I talk, it's always like, I'll say something like, yeah, I don't do this because of that. And he's like, oh, okay. And I don't do that because of this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, because it always makes sense. I think a real mistake you can make as a strength and conditioning coach is trying that cookie cutter approach. Oh, trust me, I remember years ago when somebody said, oh, we're using the Notre Dame strength program. And I'm like, well, basically it was cleans and about 20 different universal machine exercises. Well, the problem is if you don't have that facility and you don't have those Division I athletes, you're not gonna improve. You've got to make things fit for your locale.
Good. Ready for set number 3, Dan?
Or as Shakespeare taught us in Midsummer's Night Dream, local habitation.
Here we go. Good stuff. Let us know if you're joining us. Let us know if you're swinging with us. Let us know if you've done your swings today, 300 to 500.
When we finish the 300, do I just keep filming and talking and do our podcast here?
Yeah. I was counting this as a podcast today anyway. So.
Well, I meant do the 300, but then just keep talking,
For the remainder of the hour. Sure.
Yeah.
Here's the next question, Dan. Hitty wants to know, how do you keep your swings crispy, Dan, especially when you get to the higher volume stuff or the higher reps in the workout?
How do you keep swings crispy? Okay, so what helps is anytime you want something like this to happen, okay, there has to be tension and relaxation, okay? So there's a question about how do you keep swings snappy, how keep them crispy. So there's 2 places. The first is here. So remember, hook up a rope or a stretchy band or something like that, or even if just take your hands, cross and squeeze. But if you pull down a rope from here, or even if you have a wall or a chair, it's a little bit too low, but you stand here and you pull it down here. You pull it down here so that you're doing an ab wheel. You're engaging your lats, which squeezes your butt cheeks, which makes your glutes kick. So at the top of every swing, boom, it becomes a plank. At the bottom of every swing, try to stretch your hamstrings as far as you possibly can each and every time. I actually try to feel a hamstring every time. And you do that by pushing the bell back. By pushing the bell back. So you throw the bell back, you throw the bell down, throw the bell back, throw the bell down. It's funny because I didn't realize this until just now. I'm always throwing the bell this way, and everything else is a bow and arrow back at it. So it becomes boom, 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 okay? Like a swing in a playground. Swing in a playground, you throw your children this way. And if you throw them too hard,
I also noticed that I'm swinging facing the camera, and you're swinging with a profile view, so hopefully people can see it.
yeah. Speaking of swinging,
Let's do it. Next set.
one thing I'd recommend, always write down your reps.
Yes, sage advice. You'll notice I have all these boxes. We lived in Wisconsin for over 2 years now. We still haven't unpacked all of our boxes.
Well, you know what they say in time management books? Throw those boxes out.
No kidding. It's 5. I don't even know what's in those boxes.
Throw them out.
Because I'm not using it, right?
Yeah. So I read something one time. Always, when you fold a box up, put the date on it. If you haven't opened it up in a year, throw it out. And some will say, well, you might be throwing away, some wonderful heirlooms. And the truth is, if they were wonderful, they'd be out. How's everybody doing today?
Over here. It's funky this morning. Doing well. Dan, here's a question from I'm not sure how to pronounce it. We'll say Zach.
Zach.
Wants to know, do you think swings would be the most bang for your buck exercise for mountain biking?
Well, according to my friend Bike James, he told me that the hardstyle kettlebell challenge was the best thing you can do. So I want you to look up the name bikejames.com, I think it is. He's now doing more ramping isometrics, but his original work was 4 exercises: the swing, the goblet squat, the Turkish get-up, and that exercise I call the windmill stick, that PVC pipe stretch. And in fact, I became kind of famous in his community because of the windmill stick. And there was a big argument, I think it was on Reddit or something, about cornering. My work was referenced, by James was referenced. So go. Generally, what I try to do, and I hope you notice this, Pat, is I always try to send people to people who know more about things. So, well, this is going to sound awkward and weird, but I like to be able to agree with them. But that I always send you to people who know more. That sounds weird. I don't willy nilly send you just to anybody, you know. Like there's experts in every field that, you know, do all kinds of things that you guys simply can't afford. Or like, you know, if you're doing this really bizarre program, this really bizarre program, and I read about it in a magazine or outside or Men's Health, there's always like that moment where I'm like, wait a second, you know. So you live in a tropical place, you have a supermodel for a wife, um, you worry about whether, you know, what exact kind of mushroom you put in your tea every morning. You know, you train with, you know, you go in your backyard pool and you do this specialized exercise. Then your masseuse comes up. I mean, I know I can do this, but maybe our listeners might not be able to afford the, you know, $100,000 to $300,000 a year in recovery tools that some of these other people use. Now, for me, that's nothing, but for some of you, that actually might be your food bill. 300,000. Is that a normal family's food bill? 300,000. Yeah. So that's a food bill, right? And don't even get me started about my Silver Shadow. Um, my Silver Shadow, the Rolls Royce, there's a scratch on it. I don't make a big deal out of it. But, you know, as a strength and conditioning coach, as everyone knows, I mean, it's money, 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 you know.
Right. Good questions, people. Keep them coming in. And for those of you who are just joining, we're doing 10 sets of 30. I believe this is the halfway mark right here. Then.
If we get through this set, we will be halfway through the first challenge.
Right on. Here we go.
No, man, strong on. Oh, uh, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about swings, you know, Pat, is, you know, yesterday somebody asked me, you know, it's a question comes up. It's if you only do two exercises, would the swing be one of them? And I always think that the swing and the half kneeling press would take care of most North Americans' issues, you know.
People getting a little Pat Dan John Cribs today as well, man.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I've shown the tour to these guys. So, so this is uh, just some of my library in here. So, and there's where my coffee is, and that's all my military stuff, more. And then over there is my dad's jacket and my babies. That's our Instagram people up there.
Oh, very nice.
So we got Instagram, we got Pat Flynn, and we got YouTube. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Look at that. Let's see what we got in terms of the questions here, guys. Keep it coming, looking good. So Kirill has a follow-up. Essentially, he wants to know, won't his grip just get better gradually during the challenge?
I mean that is what progression means. So Kirill asks, won't my grip naturally get stronger during the challenge? Well, that's progressive resistance exercise, PRE. That's accommodation, that's adaptation, depending on where your school was. Uh, yeah, I mean, that is. So, what you'll find is when you do something like a challenge, is the first couple of weeks, days, months you do it, uh, there are certain things that you'll look back on weeks, days, months from now and go, why was that bothering me? It's like when you first go off and start running, that first, I got to tell you, that first mile, first kilometer you run might be harder than the 50th kilometer on a 50K run down the line. It's just that's just what progressive resistance exercise is. That's what accommodation, adaptation, stimulation cycle, regeneration cycle. That's all. That's my whole business.
So yes, the answer is yes.
The answer, well, it's not just yes, but that's what. It's like, what's the job of an English teacher? To teach English. It's, what's the job of a long-term training program to make adaptations, to cause adaptations. It's
right. So yes, you will progress, but the advice Dan John gave you before is probably the best way to progress, right? So they're compatible there.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out. I moved the camera, so I have to make sure I keep everything in the screen. Hold on.
Here we go. Set number 6. Join us.
Okay. Give me just a second, okay?
Dan, I was reading your wandering weights again. As I do. Dan, are you there? Can you hear me?
Sorry, Pat, I missed all that. Sorry. The upside of post-COVID is all this junk comes out of my head. So what was the question?
No, I was just saying, I was reading your wandering weights, and I wanted to remind you about how good of a generalist resource that is. One of the things I love that you do in wandering weights, Dan, is you're just sharing all sorts of different resources. And you shared an article about having a nemesis.
So Pat's talking about it.
That was great. I just wanted to bring it up. Yeah.
Pat mentioned an article I posted in Wandering Weights about having a nemesis, or if you have multiple, a nemesis. It is interesting because I look back over my career, is when I wanted to beat somebody very often, the path was so much easier for me than a lot of the other stuff. You know what I mean? Having said that, now my favorite nemesis is like a number or two on a piece of paper. For the way I'm working now.
That's the Joker to your Batman. I get it.
This is the Joker to my Batman. Yes. Hold on, let me get some more coffee real quick.
Yeah, take your time. All right, lots of good questions here, so keep them coming. Let's see what we got. Who's joining us? Who's got their kettlebell out right now? I see a lot of people reporting in that have already done their swings. This is good.
Again, Pat and I are joining for the 300, and then and if you want to keep answering questions, I can knock off the last 200. And I've been adding 5 more around now, just so I won't have such a long road ahead of me.
Oh, good. Yeah, real quick, let's squeeze this question in. Dan, I know you're a huge advocate for Olympic lifts for athletes, but what is your thought on subbing kettlebell swings as power development tool in place of the Oli lifts, particularly for middle school and high school?
Oh.
Maybe they don't have as much motor control.
So the question is about, I love Olympic lifting, so how about substituting swings? And you'll see the issue with swings very quickly. For middle school, I love the idea of teaching middle school kids the hinge. That's why I think it's so important that you have tests like the standing long jump and the vertical jump in a school setting so that they can see the value of doing these, okay? Yes, so the swing is valuable, but you'll notice with the swing very quickly, I've said back in the day, it's funny, somebody quoted me on Instagram saying the kettlebell is a fat burning athlete builder. Then someone else went in and said, Pavel said that. And then, of course, I went in and said, well, where did Pavel say it? He said in this book. And I said, get the book out. And it's, of course, Pavel was quoting me saying it. Yeah, so it was kind of a funny little interaction. Yeah, so the kettlebell swing is a fat burning athlete builder, no question about it. But you get to the point where you only get what you. It's like I don't think there's anything wrong with running in the off season to get ready for a competition. I didn't say what the competition was, did I? But as you get closer and closer to where that competition is, you have to do the realities of what that sport needs. So the swing is a wonderful base builder. But, you know, if you're doing kettlebell swings, you're doing the 24 for 500 a day, and I'm cleaning 400 pounds for singles, you know, 3 times a day, 3 days a week. When we run into each other on the field of play, you'll be able to run into me more often. But once I actually get a hold of you, you're not going to run into me anymore. So, you know, in sports like rugby and American football, there comes times where you need the heavy loaded ballistics.
Great. 3 more sets. Gentle listeners, if you're just joining in, that's 3 sets of 30 reps. So let's do it.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at it. What's holding my coffee, Dan? The old classic.
Hey, Pat's showing us paleo workouts for dummies.
I can't believe this book is. How old is this book? It's over 10 years old now.
I would say it's 211, right?
Dan, I have to say, Dan really helped the sales of this book. It's the #1 Amazon review is from Dan. He calls it a terrific book with a terrible title.
A terrific book with a terrible title. That's absolutely true.
And I was right and I was wrong when I was arguing with the publisher because of course I didn't want them to put paleo in the title because it's really just about the basics.
Yeah.
Kettlebells. And I told him, look, paleo's going to be dead in like 5 years, and I think I was kind of spot on with that. But the book has continued to do well thanks to all the just listeners. So
Well,
and wrong.
so I mean, what I can do right here is I can go to my signed edition of the book. Here you go. That's the second time in 2 days I've had my books right next to me. That's kind of, but I also have the other book too in here, the compilation book.
Yeah. Yeah, the gas science one. Where's my nearest Dan John? Let's see.
Well, I will say this. I still appreciate the whole concept behind the paleo movement. And I hope I've never thrown anybody under. But one of the things that I think hurt paleo is that a lot of the people that push paleo the hardest, Pat, we found out later on they were also doing hormone replacement therapy. Or they were, and I'm not being a jerk, I'm just saying, I don't think anybody on the ancient, oh, which one is it? Is that before? Can you go? There you go. Pat showing me his books. So, reminder.
It's the nearest Dan John volume right here. Yep.
Yeah, so I still have great respect for the early work. I remember when I first went on and met Rob Wolf and uh,
Oh yeah.
Lauren Cordain's little website that was just, I mean, oh my gosh. And then I just remember Art Devaney in that very first thing I read. I think it was 98 or 99, the PDF on evolutionary fitness, when he talks about, I will expand on this in the book, and thinking, oh, this book is going to be great. I just saw it.
The PDF is all we needed.
Yeah. In fact, in Europe, they changed the title. Well, who can argue? It's
somewhere.
Yeah, and in Europe, they changed it from the new evolution diet to the Devaney diet. Uh, it was weird because he had promised all this information about why doing a set of 15 followed by 8 followed by 4 was superior with hierarchical use of fast twitch muscles. And I listened to everything he wrote. That I thought his series down in his workshop down in Las Vegas, which I don't know where I have my copy, was brilliant. But he spoke so long on anthropology, he never got to the big meat at the end. You know, um, he went through his huge points about fast twitch muscle fibers. Say it was a 6-hour day, he went through it in 2 minutes. This whole section. I'm not mad. No one cares what I think, but I thought it was really good. So you have what? 2 rounds to go,
2 more sets. Let's do it.
and then it'll just be moi. Okay. Obviously, I'm doing the math wrong.
Oh yeah.
Which set is that for you?
What's that?
Which set was that for you?
That was 9. We got one more. Ryan.
So did I just forget to write down one? Yeah, I did. Yeah.
The listeners will keep it honest. Maybe someone else is keeping track. I thought that was 9.
That's no problem. I think you're right. No problem at all.
Let's return to some questions. Rose says, "What's that funky looking bell pad?" I don't know. It's just one of the many funky looking kettlebells in the basement. I've got all sorts of kettlebells. Rose, disgusting. Thought it was handy in the basement, so we're using it. I've got kettlebells throughout my entire house. I got a bunch over there. Got this funky looking guy here. I got 2 more right there. I got like 4 outside. I've got a bunch in the garage. I've got some up in the bedroom. So my house is well kettlebell.
So you got one more set with me, and then I slide in and finish mine, right?
Yes.
But we'll keep this going, right?
Yeah, we'll keep rocking for a bit. Christopher, here's a question for you, Dan. Christopher wants to know, can you replace the kettlebell swing with a goat bag swing technique in order to complete the swing challenge?
The question was, can you do the swing challenge with any other technique? Personally, I think yes, because the challenge is, whatever the challenge. The challenge is for you, and um, we all have to make decisions. What you'll notice in life is that there's certain ages in your life where your challenges have a really, really wide range. Hold my beer and watch this. No one's ever jumped off that bridge. The So, and as you age, oh, sorry, wrong way. And as you age and things change up a little bit, your range narrows down. So, I'm making a point. I think it's an important point. So just stick with me. If you decide you're going to do the 10,000 swing challenge, but for very smart and good reasons, 10,000 swings is not something you should do, and you decide to do the goat bag swing, well, the waiter's bow for 10,000 reps. That would be a hamstring waker if your technique was good. We, of course, at one time tried the 10,000 goblet squat challenge. You know, I would not do that now because that would be outside my safety range. Okay? So everyone listening literally understands my point. It's like I want to really go out of my way and taste all kinds of exotic foods. Well, do you want rattlesnake flavored maple syrup? No, that's okay. Even though it's outside my range, I mean, even though I want to try things, that's still outside my range. Does that make sense to you, Patrick? Stay in your lane, bro.
One more set of 30 for those who are doing 300 swings. Let's take a count.
Okay. So, will you stick around with me?
Very good.
Will you stick around while I finish?
Yeah, definitely stick around.
Good.
Some more questions. Wayne said it's good I'm swinging concrete blocks. I don't know about you, Dan, but when it comes to two-hand swings, as long as it's not going to take out my knees and isn't too crazy on the hands, I'm not too fussy about the kettlebell. But once you start doing other stuff, I can get pretty fussy.
Yeah.
I almost never use that competition belt for anything except for swing play.
Yeah, I don't like what it does.
That one's actually got a wide enough handle that I can get both hands in
Oh, okay.
pretty comfortably, I know. So,
A question came up about using other equipment to do the swing challenge, and you certainly, again, you dance with the girl who brung you, whatever you got. Somebody started asking me questions about the Hungarian core blaster, something I used back in the 90s and early thousands for training. It's a bunch of, just type in Hungarian core blaster, you'll find it. But honestly, you probably get the bulk of the benefits by doing 10,000 ab wheels. But what's the problem, Pat? No, don't try. Please don't try it. What's the problem? You're one sneeze from going into lower back arrest. Yeah, and once you get an ab, so there, you could certainly do. I mean, every single child I've ever had, I've done kettlebell swings with.
There she is. One of the best $10 pieces.
Yeah, oh yeah. Pat's showing his ab wheel. When there's a video of me with Josephine or Danny, and when they're in their baby holder, and I'm doing kettlebell swings with them to rock them to sleep, and you could do the 10,000 swing challenge with the baby, I suppose, but you'd have to get that baby to agree, not to lose their mind. And of course, as everyone knows, Pat's going to get a chance to revisit babies here pretty soon. Yeah.
Indeed, yeah, that's right.
Okay, Pat, encourage me to keep going, okay?
Keep going, Dan. You can do it. And to the listeners, please keep the comments and questions coming. We're going to hang around and give Dan some support here because Dan's a bit crazier. He does the 500 swing, whereas my crew we're doing 300 swing today. Certainly, if you want to do a little bit extra, I can. But if you're doing 300 swings, I will warn you that just because today was a little bit lighter and easier, that does not mean that tomorrow is going to be. So just if you got the program, you see what's coming. So just make that judgment. Be prudent. I'll say, be prudent. Try not to get carried away with things. Dan makes it look easier than it actually is. Look at that good hinge. That sort of work. Nice, solid. Very solid. Very solid.
Ooh. Good. Might get over 400 in the next one. Ooh.
Very, very good.
Any questions?
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Abby says he's been doing the swings challenge and he loves the cobra pose after completing the day's workout.
Sure.
Is some teeny bit of lower back engagement normal, or should I look to clean up my form?
So the
Should he be feeling his lower back at all in the swing, Dan? That's a very common question, isn't it?
well, you know, the body is one piece. Even if you have perfect technique, you're still going to have, you still got to pick up groceries, get in and out of the car. So while you're doing any kind of swing challenge, life is going to keep happening too. So you could have 100,000 perfect swings and, you know, maybe never once feel it in your back. But when you put the bell away with a fatigued lower back and hamstrings, you might get a little bite. So here's the thing. Can you hurt your lower back doing swings? Well, certainly. I think you can hurt your lower back sneezing, as we know. But so the idea is to try to get yourself into a place. I didn't catch the questioner's name, but get yourself into a place that you're mostly protected technically. The quality of reps is good enough overall. And if you're just kind of, what you want to do is kind of trend towards better technique, better quality reps. And that alarm is to remind me that I'll be speaking with you in just a few minutes. I'll turn off the other one too. Sorry, give me just a second here, okay?
Take your time, Dan.
Yeah, we're back. Hey, thanks for being here, buddy.
Give us a grunt of acknowledgments in the comments if you've been doing your swings with us or done your swings today.
So I wouldn't say I'm going slower or faster with you here, Patrick, but it's nice. It's nice to it's nice.
It's nice. It is nice, isn't it? I'll probably hop in and do a.
Okay, so let's get it. I'm gonna get over 400 on this one.
I'll do it. Nice, easy 10 for me. Am I considering creating a program for clubs and maces? Me, not personally. I do like them. I do like club work, but keep an eye out back because Jim might be at some point. Here it says, looking good, gentlemen. I just finished my lift and now I'm doing the podcast with some coffee. Cheers to you. I just took my last sip there. Sad part of my morning when I took my last.
Oh, you know, talking in between, I don't know if I rest as much, but I sure enjoy it, you know, the conversation. Can we?
Question, Dan, from Derek. It says he's working with a rugby team, approximately 60 athletes, with a short preseason and limited gym access. What assessment do you like for the whole team? Thank you.
So I have a question. A rugby coach, limited resources, big numbers, the typical miracle working. What are two good assessments? There's two. I would say the standing long jump and then the farmer walk with body weight. If you have a trap bar, have them just carry that. When I say body weight, so if they're making big round numbers, don't have anybody go over 100 kilos. So, if you got a guy weighing 120, still test him with 100. Maybe break it out as, you probably won't have anybody under 60K, but 60K, maybe some natural easy number to slap on like 80K. So have an 80K bar, maybe a 90K, 80, 90, 100. And if you're under 80, 81 to 90, 91 and above, 100. And just use those two measurements. I would suggest making a loop for the farmer walk. Test your standing long jump. I would say make that a big deal and really, really emphasize it up on the walls and stuff. But standing long jump and the farmer walk will give you enough information at a. Those are the biggest bang for the buck measurements. They're not perfect, no, but you'll get if someone's standing long jump keeps improving and their farmer carry keeps going farther, you can assume that good things are happening. No other movements will give you that obvious kind of feedback. What Mike Boyle would call a duh. Well, yeah, if you're standing long jump farther and your farmer walking farther, yeah, duh. I like the does when it comes to assessment. So for me, that's why I like waistline so much. When you're working with a body composition client, waistline can move up and down. It can be faked out, but over time, waistline sticks. Weight on a scale is always a little fuzzy. It's interesting because with my Omicron variant, I haven't lost any weight. But I've talked to some other people and they say, oh yeah, when I got done, I was so, and the one person said they were very puffy, and I understood they were inflamed. Because your body's fighting off a disease, and it makes sense. So body weight doesn't always tell you everything. Waistline doesn't tell you everything. Standing long jump and farmer walk don't, but they nudge you towards the right direction. Pat just showed a book called Can You Go, and I would recommend you get that, okay?
Yes, as do I. I'm gonna keep cranking some out here, Dan.
Okay, I'm on the downhill, okay? Okay. I got.
What do they make it these days? You have birthday cake.
That is the one blessing I have. Sweets have no impact on me.
Like this is the last thing that I would crave.
Yeah.
This doesn't appeal to me in even the least. And I'm more of a fatty, salty kind of guy than I am
Yeah.
Sweet sugar type of dude.
So after doing Rusty Moore's 2-week fat loss boost, it was interesting because I craved. We have this like sourdoughish bread that has and Kerrygold butter. I mean, I walked into the kitchen and I smelled a piece of toast and was like, "Oh, I have got to have that." I was just kind of.
Funny story about Kerrygold, real quick, Dan. So before we moved to Wisconsin, we come out and visit. We were trying to get Kerrygold, and we were upset because you couldn't get it. Somehow the dairy lobby out here got it prohibited, legally prohibited, right?
Of course they did. That was the Wisconsin. They all believe in capitalism except when it hits them, right? Yeah.
Well, it goes to show, like, regulations aren't necessarily there to protect the consumer, right?
Yeah.
It was a clear case where it was, butter didn't meet a certain standard, but it was just to protect the industry.
It is my favorite part of going to Ireland is that when you buy eggs, the eggs, they're not yellow, they're golden. And the Kerrygold almost has a reddish hue to it. And then, it's weird because the lady at the store will say, yeah, Americans ask about this all the time. And it's because the cow comes from right over there, and that's the clover the cow's eating. There's, the only chemical in the butter is cow. I don't know if that's the official title. I never. So when I was in college going to Utah State, I was on a bus trip one time, and I asked one of my teammates what his major was, and he said, animal husbandry. And I said to myself, I'm never asking any other questions on a bus ever again. I found out later animal husbandry isn't what I thought it was, okay? So that was okay. But honestly, if you knew my teammate, you'd be like,
Here's a question from Mustafi. He says, Dan, I have the Rusty More Fat Loss Boost. Does it make sense to do that after the swing challenge? He says 300, but it's 500 too.
Well, I'm doing.
How would you fit the boost together with one of these swing challenges, Dan? Would you?
Well, if you know what I'm doing right now, I just finished both. I did the 10,000 swing challenge plus Rusty Moore's fat loss boost. I don't. Okay, here's the thing. Here's why I don't recommend it. It's a really hard training program on top of a really hard diet. Having said that, that's exactly why I did it, was to remind myself that my best progress happens was when I have a reasonable nutritional intervention and a reasonable exercise intervention. So for me, it's. Oh, by the way, we're not supposed to call it intermittent fasting anymore. It's time restricted eating. Okay, please. I mean, let's be very careful because they for God's sakes, wouldn't want to make anybody angry. I read this book and there was a whole chapter on why you shouldn't call it intermittent fasting, and my thought was, this is literally a semantics article. But if you intermittent fast and you focus on veggies, intelligent grains at every meal, maybe become pescatarian for a couple of weeks, and focus on quality of food, and do something like the 300 swing challenge, the 10. That I think that's great, but you'll probably find that your best body composition changes when it comes to area of losing body fat will be when you have a repeatable, doable nutritional intervention, and like lift weights 3 days a week and go for a walk. You do some mobility and go for a walk. Basically, you feel better, you move better, and you accumulate hundreds of days like that versus 14 days.
Good reminders, Dan, as always.
Well, let me knock out. I should be able to finish this up in 2 sets. So let me knock these out. Okay.
Give Dan some motivation here in the comments. Great conversation as always. Thank you all for your comments and questions. I know we started a little bit early today. This isn't becoming the norm. Our normal podcast time will stay at 9 a.m. Central Time, just with us doing the stream workout. We wanted to bump it up because Dan is doing multiple live streams both with us and on Instagram. So the time change is temporary. Otherwise, we are going to be back next week at our normal time, 9 a.m. Central Time. Every Tuesday, guys. My podcast is not consistent on stream times except for Dan. Dan, we are consistent with every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central.
We still, when we're done, let's shut all this down. Let's finish our podcast, okay?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll take a little break, and then you want to come back on and chat for a little bit, Dan?
Yeah, do you mind?
Yeah, the old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a nice group on Instagram. Sadly, they feel the internet grandpa commented on my cow was chemical factory. So not a lot of comments on Instagram, which is fine. I mean, so I got one more set, and then I'll finish.
We'll do a little coffee break. We're going to get some more coffee, and then we will resume. I'll start a new stream now. So people who are on this one, if you want to keep hanging out with Dan and I as we have our normal conversation,
Right.
Just give us like 5-10 minutes
So-
to back up in line.
So gentle listeners, so my YouTube friends, You'll be able to see the rest of this on Pat Flynn's Chronicle of Strength. I highly recommend that. Just type in Pat Flynn, Flynn, Chronicles of Strength. You'll see his podcast come up.
And on YouTube, if you just search Pat Flynn Kettlebell on my YouTube channel.
Hold on just a second before we bounce here.
Yes, we'll be doing a brief intermission because I need more coffee.
Larry says hello. Larry Boyle's been doing his swings with us. So, last set of swings, YouTube friends. And remember, we'll be back tomorrow. Today, because of that one day when I was sick, today, I think we go to 7750.
Awesome.
And I'll have to make up that 250 swings sooner or later. So this is day 16, and here's my dog because he has to come in whenever I'm getting ready to swing. Huh, buddy? Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for Dan. It's all strong. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Always enjoy these special live workout sessions. It's cool to get together, swing some kettlebells, you and Dan, and answer some questions. So what we'll do is once Dan is finished here, we'll probably take about a 10-minute break, and then we're just going to move right back up in our normal podcast format. Just have a little usual, our weekly discussion. How's that, Dan?
Okay.
10-minute intermission, does that work for you?
10-minute break. Hey, thank you, friends on YouTube. I'm Dan John from danjohnuniversity.com. Reminder for that New Year's special. It ends in very quickly. New Year, one word. It's $29 a month. Pardon me, $29 for 3 months, and you get the goal achievement course for $15, which is a great deal. And that was another fun workout. You'll be able to see it streamed over at Chronicles of Strength also, which is kind of cool. And remember, until next time, keep on lifting and learning, okay?